Hey everyone, welcome to 3 Cards, 1 Stamp, August 2015, Day 3. It's Justine here, bringing you the My Favorite Things Count the Stars stamp set. 3 ideas on how to make great cards using 1 stamp set. Really economical and you get a lot of use out of it. So let's learn how to make this Galaxy Night Sky. We're going to start off with some Tumbled Glass Distress ink from Tim Holtz. You just need a light blue dye ink. It doesn't necessarily need to be distress. Earlier I had done a card making tutorial on Northern Lights and how to do that. Look, I'll link to that here in the corner and you can check that out if you're interested. And a lot of people really liked it, and so I had the idea of doing a galaxy for this one, and so yeah, I thought why not? I'll do a video on this one as well. Just going to speed you up a little bit so you're not getting too bored. Just adding that tumbled glass in a circular motion to the middle of the card. Then I'm going in with some Festive Berries. This is a really great Christmassy reddish pink color. Then I'm going to go in with Seedless Preserves. Again, just switching out my sponges as I go, darkening up that Festive Berries, and then making the Seedless Preserves in the other 2 corners. And then I'm going to go in with some Chipped Sapphire. Now this is one of my favorite distress inks. I have to get a big one of it because I'm going to run out, I swear. Anyway, I'm just filling in some of those white areas, darkening up the pink here and there. Not too much though. You don't want to get it to be too dark at this point. Now it's time to start darkening up the middle. With a very light hand, I'm going to go into the center and start to darken it up a little bit. You don't want it to be completely dark, but at the moment it kind of looks like, I don't know, a bean, and so I want to change that. I'm going to go in with some black soot and darken my edges. That gives it a really great effect, and sort of pounce it in the middle there to get it a little bit darker. I don't want too much black though, so I'm going back in with the Chipped Sapphire to attempt to darken up that middle part there without it and stop it looking like a bean. And now I'm just taking some White Picket Fence Distress paint, and I'm going to be flicking it on with a paintbrush. At this point you can use any sort of mist that may be in white. You can use paint. The stain will work okay, but overall it's quite faded if you use the stain. The paint is pigmented, which means that it is really vibrant against even the darkest of colors. I set my card off to dry for probably a good hour. You could use a heat gun if you're impatient, but I had the other 2 cards to create for this series, so I decided to just set it off to the side. So you need it to be completely dry at this point, because if it's not dry, you're going to get embossing powder everywhere. So I'm going to be stamping I Thank My Lucky Stars for You, and I'm going to be stamping that in Versamark ink and embossing it with silver embossing powder from Ranger. So I'm just arranging the way that I would like it right now, because I love to use my stamp press, because then I can pick up all these stamps at the same time and stamp them exactly the way I laid them out on the card and what I wanted. And so this is a really handy tool, either this one or the Misty, but there's quite a big price difference between having the Misty and having a stamp press. So I'm just pouncing some Versamark ink on there. I'm actually inking up quite a bit, mainly because it's the first time I'm using this sentiment, and I don't want to have any spots that don't catch the embossing powder. So I'm just going to push down onto my card, stamp it, and run my fingers along and firmly press down. And then I'm going to be adding some silver embossing powder from Ranger. So I'm just grabbing a scrap piece of paper, and I am grabbing the embossing powder and just putting a bunch on there and hoping that my card is dry enough that nothing else sticks. If you do have embossing powder that sticks to the card where it's not supposed to, you can take a dry paintbrush and then that's fine. I'm just going to show you here how I am heat embossed it, because I love the change between embossing powder to silver. I'm just going to speed you up though for this process. Personally, it was the first time I saw this technique here happen where I actually fell in love with card making and embossing and all this fun stuff. I just love how that turned out and how shiny that is. Take a look. It just looks amazing against that background, and with the white and the colors, it just looks great. I absolutely love the way this card turned out. So I'm grabbing a card base, 110-pound Nina Solar white cardstock. It measures 11 by 4 1/4. I scored it at 5.5 inches and folded it over to make a top folding card, like I do in most of my card videos. I'm just sticking this panel here to my card. The panel, if you were wondering, is 4 by 5 1/4. I don't think I mentioned that in the beginning of the video. And that's the end of today's card tutorial, so I hope you enjoyed this card. It's absolutely gorgeous. Give this technique a try. I would love to see Here you can click anywhere on the screen. You can click at the top to visit my blog and supply list. You can click over to the right to subscribe to my YouTube channel or Facebook, Pinterest, Twitter, or Instagram. Or you can click on the video and go to Day 2's card if you missed out. Thanks so much for watching, everyone. Please leave a comment and subscribe.